Ladies, gentlemen, let the show begin. Alright, do you like video games? And I know you do. What about entertainment? We got that too. Video game, I'm on a video game. Video game, oh, what's the name? Video Game Armada. This is the one show on the Gamer Boss Bronze.
And the information on True Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media, Blue.
Coming back to you with the aftermath of Spider-Man Homecoming. Yay! So yeah, Adrian Toomes. That is the father of Peter Parker's girlfriend.
Liz Allen Toomes.
What the heck?
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Well, in the spectacular... Here's one thing I noticed when the spectacular...
Was that a thing? Was that truly a thing?
Well, Liz in the comic books, if I remember correctly, had some criminals in her family, I think. No supervillains, but she did. And in Spectacular Spider-Man, and I'll be talking a lot about Spectacular Spider-Man throughout this, her brother was Molten Man. Yeah, so Liz's brother. Who had
her whole family is like criminals,
yeah,
it looks like.
I mean, in one canon or another. So, but no, Vulture was never Liz Allen's dad in the comics or in any other media, but it was a nice twist to have my jaw dropped. I think I dented the floor with how far my jaw went.
No, I went to the bathroom and I came back right in time when I saw that. Oh no.
And you know what the sad part is? They started a movie cleaning up the Chitauri invasion, him and his group, until Damage Control takes over and say, hey, we're Damage Control, get out of here. But
now, is that a subtle hint from them having their own movie or no?
I'd say they might take a big place in the Infinity War.
Damage Control?
Yeah. I mean, no, they ain't gonna stop Thanos, you crazy? But I mean, the aftermath. That man, that deity, he's gonna wreck Earth. I'm so certain of it. And Damage Control's gonna have to clean it up, like they always do with super catastrophes like this. But in the meantime, when he was showing his picture to his coworker, I think there was a lot of supervillains that worked for Vulture. We'll get to that in a sec. But he was showing Phineas a picture of the Avengers. His daughter his kid made it. They implied that he was a father. I was like, that's cool. I thought to myself, I wonder if he has a daughter instead of a son. And I said, nah, that can't be it. Right. So not only did I second guess myself when I was right in guessing before a second guess, I completely got myself caught off guard with the fact that, that Toomes was always... And they foreshadowed it too. Because Montana, and that's what I'm calling him, because that's his name in the comics. The guy that Vulture wasted, that was Montana. And
I thought, wow.
You see, that's another thing for the Spectacular Spider-Man. For those who don't know, Montana was a powerless member of the Enforcers. He used like a lasso and obligatory guns and stuff to try to stop Spider-Man, but he had two helpers, Fancy Dan and Ox. They work for professional criminals. In Spectacular Spider-Man, they turned Montana into the Shocker. So they did that again. And I'm still not done with the Spectacular Spider-Man quotes, but he vaporized Montana because he was saying, do you want me to tell your daughter what you're doing? And I should have gotten it right. No, his family. I should have gotten it right.
I think he said his wife. Tell your wife what you do.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I should have figured out, why is that important? And I didn't figure it out.
Well, one thing you mentioned, too, while we were actually in the movie, when the one dude early on identified himself as the Shocker.
Yeah.
And you were like, is there some source information that developed there, or there was something missing, or what?
Well, the thing about it is, there was two Shockers. They're really good. The first guy, the Shocker, was actually Montana. He was I forget his real name right now, but he was Montana in the comics. But in Spectacular Spider-Man, they made Montana the Shocker instead of a guy named Herman Schultz. The other guy, the brother, the black guy, he was Herman Schultz.
So it's basically like they say, "Oh, do we want to make the Shocker a white guy?" No, psst. Make the black guy the Shocker. He's the new Shocker.
No, but they also said, you have a stupid. You call yourself the Shocker. You have a stupid name. Here, you're the Shocker now.
I know. I could see it. It's like the progression of again, my favorite word of the day, political correctness, from old classic Shocker. I don't know if he was like real. That guy was the canon Shocker, right?
The black guy was the canon Shocker.
No, I mean in the comic books.
Montana wasn't a Shocker. Herman Schultz was
the
a
black
Shocker.
guy was always the canon.
He was always a Shocker. Was he always black?
I think he was white.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But it was always Schultz, the character.
Yeah.
Schultz.
Okay, they just
But
made it
was
black. Well, still, whatever.
But I wonder, was Montana ever? Was that ever a real character? In
Yes,
Canada?
he was a long-time character of the Spider-Man lore. But
Yeah, remember him? He was the guy with the red
beard
and the yellow crisscrosses on his...
the
I
Shocker.
remember him in the movie.
No, in the cartoon.
The
show.
cartoon. The
Yeah.
cartoon. The Shocker had this.
Yeah, look it up. Spider-Man 90 Shocker.
On it.
Yeah, he had this quilt patchwork-looking insulator costume.
Once you see him, you'll remember.
I do have a little bit of a grievance with the Shocker's powers. Whoever was doing
Me
it.
too. I know what you're about to say.
Because I like the Ghostbusters ectoplasm fist as much as the next Ghostbusters fanboy, girly. But
Oh, that's the Shocker.
Yep.
I
Shocking.
yeah, I wish there was like at least two of them.
Yeah.
But I missed the fact that the Shocker would blast people. The Shocker was tossing around buses. I like that, but just no blasting, just punching.
Yeah, they definitely depowered him. He should have had two. The original Shocker had two electro gauntlets.
He had something in his belt, didn't he?
I think he wore a belt.
Yeah.
That V looks like it's lit up pretty good.
And whenever the Shocker would fight Spider-Man, he would always try to shoot him with his, I guess, shock beams or something. That would really hurt.
Interesting.
And you know what? Look,
Punching was never really his thing.
I never had I don't have a problem. Yep, that's a Bokeem Woodbine as Herman Schultz.
No, he was not originally black.
Yeah.
I will say this: I have no problem with the Shocker's place in the movie. He was always treated as somewhat of a butt monkey in the comics. Plus, the way he normally is beaten is usually because he's just gotta blast things or punches things. Now, I guess.
Now, I'm not saying that the Vulture was 100% legit his storyline too. Wasn't he like a super old dude who stole the youth out of people?
That was only the '90s series, funny enough. But remember the stupid tablet at the time? Yeah.
What was the Vulture's original storyline?
He was an industrialist, just like Osborn. Which he was, but he didn't need the Tinker's help to make things. I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They changed around the Vulture storyline, which in this case I think was actually an improvement.
And he is no offense to Michael Keaton, but he is an old man, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but he wasn't going around stealing youth in this one.
No,
he was stealing dangerous technology from all the super fights of the Avengers.
Yeah,
which again humanizes him because he first started out to do that. Yeah, that was the original guy.
Wow, he was old. He was a Mr. Burns.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mr. Burns with wings.
Exactly.
Sheesh.
And he would just steal it because he felt like he was screwed by the man because Damage Control said, "We know you guys are a business, and you did like all this stuff to do the job of cleaning up the city after this crazy super fight, but we're taking over and we're not compensating you anything."
I'm surprised he didn't ask for credentials. I'm surprised they didn't sue. But these guys felt so defeated already, especially Montana's like, "Well, I'm not taking their stuff back."
He said, like you said, well, instead of saying, "You know what, I'm going to sue you," or "I got a contract," or "I'm going to take it up with, Tony Stark," whatever.
They should have.
They said, "Oh, I know, evil."
I know. You know what the sad part is? And TV Tropes kind of confirms it. Tony Stark doesn't even know who these guys are.
Of course he doesn't.
They're mad at him. Those guys should let him know at least at first that they're mad at him.
Yep.
But no, it's just it's like what happened with John Garrett in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or Ant-Man.
Or Ant-Man. You know, it's just like...
The original Ant-Man, he got screwed over by whoever was Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, I mean, it's like no one knows what happened. Tell somebody!
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Like Spider-Man tried to do with Happy Hogan, but they didn't listen to him.
Nope, and because they tried to take over Staten Island Ferry. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, the 15-year-old who thinks he's ready for the big time being impulsive and ruin an FBI sting, but that didn't need to happen. Happy should have let him know.
No, everyone should have let everyone... Like, this was probably what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Spider-Man, he tried to do his due diligence. He tried to call Happy, and he tried to call Tony. None of them were listening. None of them were, getting off their dust. Happy Hogan, I know what you said. Like, I know what you think about Happy Hogan. You liked that movie because it was... more, gives him more...
It gives him more character. I mean, and that's for the longest time was what he needed, because the first movie, it was just cameo, hi, I'm Jon Favreau, I directed the Iron Man movie, and I'm cameoing here. The second movie, that's hi, I'm Jon Favreau, save Spiel, but he got to work for the Black Widow and shows boxing skills. The third movie, he was laid up for most of the movie, but you gave him a little bit more development, because you knew him at this point, and you felt bad that this is the first real time that Happy did anything.
Honestly, I kind of have to disagree, because the only thing he did was grouse and grumpy and just throw the kid into situations, like whether he wanted to or not. Get in there. Don't record that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Leave me alone. Stop leaving me messages. I'm busy. Click.
It's like almost, why do you have his number?
Exactly. He didn't do anything but fuss and say no.
Well,
I don't even know what half their relationship between Tony and him was.
Right,
it was very confusing.
They never made that clear.
He was a bodyguard, and then he was some guy who moved up in the world. I don't know.
Well, I think what they're doing is he's not S.H.I.E.L.D. level yet, but they're trying to show that Happy's gotten promoted in these last 10 years or so, because since the first Iron Man movie, he's still Tony's straight Smithers, if you get the meaning, but he's getting a lot more responsibility. And at the end of the movie, Spider-Man rightfully saved this, but we got interrupted by the stupid kid washing his hands. Go ahead, kid, get out of here. But what I think Happy was trying to say is if Vulture and Tinker would have gotten away with all those weapons, the onus would have definitely fallen Happy. He definitely, no matter how much Tony thought of him as one of his friends like Obi and Rhodey, he would have been fired. And, that's what he was trying to say. He could have lost his job.
Yeah, that was his only single emotional moment. But then it got interrupted by some kid coming out the bathroom, washing his hands and looking at that situation. And they said, you know what? Forget it. Tony wants to see you.
Yeah.
I would have loved for him to have been an emotional something for once.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Rrr,
brr." Yeah.
Well, we talked about the idea that, we got all these different new storylines built into this Spider-Man Homecoming installment that is different from the previous storylines. Like, we didn't see the death of the uncle dude. I mean, how many times can we see that?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see the spider come down the web and bite, the
Peter.
central character. I mean, how many times can we see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see a lot of those things that have been repeated over and over again. And in exchange, we got a lot of newness and a lot of freshness. One of the things that we all mentioned, actually, is that, where is Harry? Where is the Harry Osborn dude? But there is some popular buzz kind of thinking that this is truly a precursor to another villain that hasn't presented itself in previous installments, because of the fact that when we ended up, Harry's so bitter about his dad, and he's starting to enter that whole talking to self and seeing himself as a scarecrow thing. He might be
Green Goblin.
I knew that. Thank you, Boss Runs. He might surface in one of these upcoming installments as an actual villain.
Yeah, but he never showed up in this movie.
No, he didn't, but maybe for a reason. Maybe just the fact that that's the elephant in the room, because there is no Harry, and he was always right there beside him. So maybe the fact that his absence is there could maybe speak to the fact that there's something else going on
Well,
with Harry.
They're also leading to another guy. You remember how the fairy deal started with a guy named Matt Gargan?
No.
Well, you remember that guy in the first Stinger with Adrian Tubes going there? He's like, yo, I'm a gangbanger, G.
Yeah.
That guy is a scorpion.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
No way.
He had a scorpion tattoo.
Yeah, he did.
Obviously.
Oh, okay.
He was like all obvious about this with a big old scorpion on his face or something.
Ha.
So he's probably going to be the next villain. I was hoping the Rhino was going to show up too.
Yeah, but I think even though it was only 8 milliseconds in Amazing Spider-Man 2 total, I think they're staying away from all for right now, all the villains that have been done in the past 5 movies. That includes Green Goblin, that includes Harry Osborn as the new Goblin or Green Goblin, that includes Sandman, Venom until he gets his own movie. He won't be a villain yet.
He's getting his own movie?
Yeah. Sony's making his own movie in the same universe, but not in the MCU version of that universe.
How does that going to work?
I don't know, but it's going to star him and Carnage.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. No Doc Ock, no Lizard. I think they're trying to stay away from all those guys. You know, no Electro. Which is too bad because...
What about Hobgoblin?
Hobgoblin wasn't in the movie, so I think it counts, but then you look at where Hobgoblin got his tech, and I think it'd be way too coincidental for this movie series to say, oh, I made this tech. I'm the fashion designer Roger Kingsley. I tell you, you're wearing fabulous pieces, but I also made this tech. Or, which they could change it up. Or, I'm Jason McIndale. I got all my stuff from Norman Osborn. You know, so...
I've always been a big fan of the Hobgoblin over the Green Goblin.
Yeah, the Hobgoblin was awesome in the Spider-Man 90s cartoon. You know? But, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe we might get Hydro Man. Maybe we'll get Boomerang. I doubt it. Maybe we'll get Tombstone. I would love to see Tombstone. Especially when you got stuff like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Black Panther coming out. And you have these other black people shows featuring black villains. Or, in the case of Daredevil, you have these gritty, realistic shows in Hell's Kitchen. Why not have this albino African-American gangster who doesn't need to breathe and can beat the living crap out of you with super strength?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Another person that you had that kind of like, was the dude that was the little fix-it dude. That was the one making all these weapons. That's
the next point. That guy Phineas, he's the Tinkerer. The Tinkerer is I wouldn't call him a super villain, but a villain in his own right that helps other villains make their tech and makes tech of his own. And he usually works in the shadows, works in the background where the other super villains and crime lords are taking it upon themselves to do the action. So I kind of like that aspect of his character. Spider-Man had Ned as his ops, Vulture had the Tinkerer as his wingman.
And he didn't get caught, so he's
still
out
out there.
He's still out there.
And he still has some of that stuff with him too. He's got that super stuff, whatever you want to call that.
I'm not a big member. I don't know much about the Tinkerer's comic book lineage, okay, but I do know this. It is like this in the comics. I'll say this much: he started out working for Mysterio. He started out working for a Chameleon, then with Mysterio and Spectacular Spider-Man, only to work with the Master Planner, who is Doc Ock. So Doc Ock might be coming, but he could easily transition and work for any other villain. He might not. He might still have some Chitauri and damage control, Chitauri tech and damage control contraband left to make 1 or 2 super suits. We might see Mysterio for all we know, and that fact is exciting. Mysterio was one of the best Spider-Man villains of all time because even though the guy is a total fraud in terms of where his actual powers come from, the way he used his quote-unquote powers was epic. Mm-hmm. He could easily be seen by anyone who doesn't know him as another magician like the Asgardians or like Doctor Strange. I like that.
And he's one of the Spider-Man Rose Gallery that's not animal-based.
Right.
Well, do we have anything else?
Let me see. I'm trying to think.
Because I don't think I have anything else to think about. I'm thinking.
Me too.
Again, this was an excellent movie.
I feel bad for Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, because all he ever wanted to do was be Spider-Man. So now he's the uncle of Miles Morales, who is a Spider-Man, but he, in the comics, is not only another version of the Prowler, but he's a supervillain, a gangbanger, and an abusive father figure to Miles. So, and obviously they're not going to do that with a guy who loves Spider-Man so much.
He chose the role. No one told him to put a gun to his head and say, "Hey, play this character."
Yeah.
He chose to do it.
But I mean, you had Aaron help Spider-Man say, "You gotta clean this up, man." You know, so he's just like this villainous sage to Spider-Man. It's kind of funny. I will say this: that African accented kid, his name is Abraham Brown. His brother is Hobie Brown, who is the first Prowler, which is funny because why do Aaron Brown? I mean, why do Aaron Davis? Aaron Davis is Miles Morales' uncle. I get that. But if you're going to do a Prowler, do Hobie Brown. I want to see him first.
Now, Hobie Brown was...
Hobie Brown was a C or D level superhero named the Prowler.
Okay.
But he was a man trying to clean up his life. And Spider-Man helped him. He found his super suit after... I don't know how in the comics, but he became a superhero and helped Spider-Man on more than one occasion. But, I mean, why set up the Prowler for someone else? But... I don't know. I guess that's what they want to do. Let's see.
Younger.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the whole youth thing.
Maybe it's the whole youth thing. I'd rather have Rocket Racer, but I know that's not going to happen.
Well, I know that it was refreshing when I mentioned in our previous show that, you know, it was nice seeing some old friends. It was nice seeing...
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, that was nice seeing her back.
Yeah, it says, and it looked like Tony and Pepper are going to
get married. You know what I'm saying?
And then obviously Cap, it is little vignettes. That was funny to see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was there anyone else? I think those were the two roles that Happy and Tony...
I forget Stan the Man Lee.
Stanley,
yeah.
One of the best cameos ever.
It was, because he actually had more of a role than he normally gets.
Yeah, and I will say this: the suit, the AI in that suit, that was so funny. I liked her, Karen.
that was an odd choice, actually. I mean, like, why? I mean, and Tony Stark, but why?
I think it's more or less to replace the Spider-Sense in movie.
That's what you were saying, and I kind of agree, but it sort of complicates Spider-Man's whole character.
Well, I think they also did it this way, so they also wanted to tell the story of him getting used to his powers without him getting used to his powers because he got used to his powers, so they added new powers.
What was the deal with that computer though? When Spider in the one scene when they saved the field trip crew from dying in the Washington Monument, and then the computer says, "Now's your chance, kiss her." I said, "What? Are you a teenager too, computer?"
I know.
I
thought that
what?
too.
How? Why? No.
I thought that too.
No. Why?
I
That
think-
doesn't make sense.
Well,
even though Spider-Man did save her, that's just weird. Just like, come here, girl.
One, Tony Stark created her, which means she is a more articulate AI than most AIs out there in the world, even by Marvel Universe standards. Two, Peter was complaining about, "Oh, I like this girl so much," and she was just, I think this computer is just trying to be helpful to Peter because he understands she's trying to be empathetic, and I think she's just trying to ship them together. She knows it's Peter Parker, no one else does.
Yeah, you're probably right, but it's still kind of all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was kind of cute. I mean, I'm glad. I was like, part of me wanted him to kiss her, but part of me said, "No, don't."
That's not going to work in reality.
And I felt so bad because he didn't even get a chance to make his choice. He just fell.
Well, yeah.
Well,
That's Spider-Man's luck for you.
Well, there's something too that was a little bit of a buzz where they mentioned that this movie Homecoming could have possibly introduced a female villain, Silk. Now you mentioned that
familiar.
one person, like, why was she even, in that movie? Because there wasn't like why? Well, maybe she could be a Silk coming up.
A Silk.
Yeah.
Like what? A spider suit that comes to life?
Yeah, in the Spider-Man, lore, Cindy Moon is a girl bitten by the same radioactive spider that gave Peter Parker his little Spider-Man abilities.
But what does it do with Silk?
Well, I think that's her name. That's the name that she's identified her alter ego as, like Silk, sort of like a ninja, but she's all spidery.
Don't hold your breath.
All right, what do you think about what do you
Buzz?
what do you real quick? What are you guys thinking about Zendaya playing Michelle Jones?
Well, you know, I like Zendaya as a person for all the things that she seems to do in her real life. But I felt it was a bit of a forced stretch for her to play any character in this movie. It didn't seem real. It kind of felt like they were trying to, you know, it's like, okay, you got a good name, we're going to give you this role, and you can see if you can bring all of your millions of fans over to the movie. But in her, you know, performance, it was like little lackluster, little forced. It wasn't like the real.
You think they're headed? You think are they gonna totally meet up to people's expectations that this MJ is going to be the one for Peter, or
Yes.
Yes.
That's.
I saw where that was going.
Yeah. You know what my comment about that is? My comments from the last video. Just apply it there. But they could have made worse choices. That's all I'm saying about it. It wasn't bad. It's just not canon. And I after a couple of days to think about it in real time, not current time, it's fine.
all right, well, that's all I got then.
All right. What about you, Blue? You got anything else?
Yeah, I think, you know, again, as a spoiler for this whole part. Oh, the other thing I was happy to see was Marisa Tomei coming in as Aunt May. I thought that was pretty cool because we all know Aunt May is like ancient, 100.
Yeah.
So to see this young and still kind of sexy Marisa Tomei.
Again, this is the millennial Spider-Man, so why the heck not?
Why the heck not? And I thought that was pretty cool seeing her in that role. And then at the end when you had these little spoilers, you know, the little, what do you call those? Not necessarily, you know, trailer worthy, but at the end of the credits, what's that called? It's not a spoiler. Stinger. Yeah, the Stinger 1 and Stinger 2. At the end of the movie, when he's standing there taking off that amazing hood to that suit, it was super cool to see Aunt May standing there saying, "What the?" And it just opens up the door because you now know that now she's going to know. And Aunt May in all those previous Spider-Men was always in the dark. She never really knew who Peter Parker was.
True.
And now you have a new Aunt May who's young enough to handle, like, okay, here you are now officially Spider-Man. Okay, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, he really sucks at keeping a secret.
No, he really does.
I mean, he really. This is where Spider-Sense would have came in handy.
Yeah.
I mean, he just outed himself to both Ned and Aunt May in the span of one movie.
You know what I think? I think that they're going to save Spider-Sense for the second film. He's like Spider-Man right now. That's not, and he doesn't have Spider-Sense. But you know, he's gonna fight. A new villain's gonna show up, probably the Scorpion. Right. It's gonna like just beat his hash.
And Vulture might show up because you could tell he's still in the picture.
He's
just in jail.
He's in the picture.
But he's not out.
No, he's in the picture, but now he's like a cautious ally because he saved his life.
Yeah, and his daughter.
And his daughter kind of likes him, so he's like saying, "Oh, fine."
And he saved her life.
Yeah, so. But the Scorpion is not going to have that problem. He's going to get his Scorpion suit and start beating up freaking Spider-Man until Spider-Man's got to do something. And then he's going to realize, whoa, I can see into the future or something with Spider-Sense, so he can avoid all that.
So is that the dude that's in jail with him?
Yeah, the Scorpion.
Mm-hmm. He kind of doesn't like this dude at all.
And apparently, according to TV tropes, I must have missed it in the movie, he's been stalking Peter for a long time.
Really?
Spider-Man. Yeah.
But, you know, like in this movie, he unlocked, like, he sort of like leveled up, and he got his super spider strength when he lifted up all that rubble off him. So he's now stronger than he was.
Yes.
That's how he was able to beat the Vulture, you know, for the most part.
And we still don't know what kind of untold little mysteries this new suit has to offer.
Yeah, I think they didn't give him the new suit.
They did. He had it on at the end.
Yeah, but it gave him that suit he had previously.
No, I thought that the suit. Okay, maybe
Not the
so.
Avengers suit.
Not the
Maybe
Avengers
so,
suit.
because that one had. I was looking for those because it had gold little
Yeah,
lines on it.
that's the
and when
armored
he tried it
Spider-Man.
on, I didn't see the gold little lines. Okay, so they didn't give him that suit.
He
yet.
just got back his
His-
movie
his
suit
test
from.
suit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing before we wrap up. Did anyone see the funny thing where you got the Avengers robbing the bank, and there was a picture saying, "We can help you with identity theft at the bank."
That was hilarious. And I also thought that was hilarious that they even found a way to bring in all the Avengers without bringing in all the Avengers.
Mhm.
They got to pay them all that big money. Just say throw a mask on them. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing.
It was pretty funny. Like the movie, it was all funny and good and wonderful, and you should see it immediately, if not sooner.
One last little tidbit, and it's I shouldn't even add this because I know it's not time sensitive necessarily, but it's just an interesting little tidbit that in all the previous movies when they made the Spider-Man character, they always had the mask on as much as possible when portraying Spider-Man. But in this installation, they decided it's a lot better to have him take off the mask whenever doing any of the Spider-Man stuff in costume for Spider-Man, and then have them put the mask on in CGI. So all the time when you see those eyes winking and blinking, it's a CGI mask for the whole head up. A lot of times you'll see him pull the mask off, put the mask on, and a lot of times you see him without the mask, but whenever he's got that mask on, CGI.
Well, that's fine by me, because Peter Parker's not named Judge Dredd.
And it's well done. It's so well done. You don't even notice. So I just thought that was pretty cool. And it was certainly a lot easier for the actor because now he doesn't have to worry about this hot mess. You can't see. You can't eat. You can't drink.
I suppose we'll have to go see the behind the scenes to see what the kind of mask he's actually wearing. He's probably got to wear a green screen mask so he can have all that.
Doesn't even have to do that. Just has to just say,
I don't know.
take it away, Harry.
You still have to put something on his face to do all those animations.
Oh, they did that all in CGI.
Yeah, but you have to do it like a green screen suit. Otherwise, all that stuff that you got on, it's not going to look right. You can't
I think they hooked it up, though.
I'm willing to bet money that that's what they did. They had to put on a green screen mask of some sort.
Maybe not. Because they could have even just added dots. Because they did that with Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He didn't have.
He had a suit.
He had green screen in the back, but
He had a suit.
No, he did have a suit for his body because his body was so deformed. But as far as the facial expressions, they just put a series of all those little dots on him, and they connected all the dots in CGI.
I bet it's a green screen mask.
That money.
Yeah. Bet what little money you have left.
Because you don't pay me, so yeah, I bet what little money I have left.
Exactly.
Unless I get a raise.
That's why this is a good bet, because I don't lose anything and I only
Then
get
if I am right, then you will give us a raise. I speak for you too, birthday man.
Yeah.
All right, you're on. But you guys won't know because I will never post what happens because I'm a jerk. And this...
Wait, fun fact. Principal Morita, the principal at Pierce High School, was played by the same actor.
Played by
Kenneth Choi, who played in Captain America: Civil War, playing Jim Morita. Holland Commando. So he's his own grandson.
Oh my word!
and he has Jim in there, so he's a principal. So that's perfect.
Yeah, let's see.
Go to Jim Morita.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy.
Pretty cool.
Yep. So we got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
That's it.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the aftermath. And of course, wait for it to make sure I'm not getting interrupted again. No.
Fun fact.
No. Yeah, I knew it.
I'm just kidding.
I knew you were kidding. But still, this is one Drum the Gamer Boss Bronze.
Any information on Bird True Backlash?
And the First Lady of Media looking for a race blue.
Telling you guys, if you already seen the movie, watch it again. I'm not because I'm poor, but you guys watch it again because you have money and you like Marvel movies. Don't deny it. Till next time, though.
Like
Peace.
us, subscribe. Like us, subscribe.
Or not. I don't know.
Like us, subscribe.
I'm going to do that all the time now.